Another mausoleum. This is the mausoleum of Gaia Placidia. This is not located in Rome, but in the city of Ravenna. Let's show you on a map where Ravenna is. Okay, now I'm going to need you to remember our time frames. Okay, so we were just looking at the mausoleum of Constanza. She's the daughter of Constantine. But then remember, Constantine makes a new capital in Constantinople. And then he divides the empire between his two sons. And we have a west and we have an east. The capital of the Western Christian Roman Empire is not in Rome. Rome has not been the capital for a while, right? The capital is now Ravenna. The city of Ravenna becomes the preferred capital for the Western Christian Roman Empire because of its easy access into the Mediterranean and therefore connection with Constantinople, the capital of the Eastern Roman Christian Empire. I think I got that mixed up, but you understand. So we got Ravenna as the capital in the west, Constantinople, the capital in the east. And the mausoleum of Gaia Placidia is located in Ravenna. Now, a little bit more cultural context. The West is rapidly disintegrating. The empire is collapsing in the West. It is fairly or relatively stable in the East. Why? Because East is where the money's at. East is where all those big cities are. East is where those more well-established roads and routes of communication are. The West, big cities, few and farther between. And this leaves it open for invasion, which I want to show you in a map here. This is just a very simplified representation of the invasion that helps catapult the fall of Rome or the Roman Empire in the West. The barbarian or Germanic invasion is this referred to because this region of what is now Germany, or the Germanic tribes that occupy the space that is now named after them, Germany, they invade or they take advantage of the Western weakness and invade and set up in parts or portions of the Roman Empire. So let's look at here. So some of these Germanic tribes, like the Angles and the Saxons, they come in and invade the island of Britain, and they settle. In fact, that is where we get the name England. England comes from the settlement of the Angles, England. I know, right? Okay, so then Franks, another Germanic tribe, they invade and they settle in this region, what is now France. Frank, France. Yes, one and the same. So we call this region because of the Germanic tribes who settled in here. The Burgundians came in and they settled in now the southern portion of France, which is named after them, the Burgundy province. Burgundy wine is grown in this province of France, named after the Burgundians. I know. Okay, let's continue around. The Ostrogoths. The Ostrogoths, they come from just past Dacia, just past the eastern borders of the empire, and they invade and they, for a time, even sack Rome and control the city of Rome. The Visigoths tear through the Mediterranean coast up and through and settle into the Iberian Peninsula, Hispania. And if you're familiar with the Portuguese language, It's different than Spanish. Spanish is more closely aligned with Latin, the Roman language, and Portuguese has these Slavic sounds to it, and that comes from the fact that the Visigoths, which have a Slavic-speaking language, settled in that portion that is now Portuguese. So Portugal. So Portugal is this hybrid of Spanish and the Visigoths. The Vandals, look at them up here. Vandals, they tear through the Western European continent with such fervor, up and down, and then around and into Italy, across North Africa, and back into Italy. They tore up so much of Europe that we gave them the name for destruction. Vandals, vandalism. When you destroy property, it's vandalism. It's named after the Vandals because they did so much destruction during the fall of the Roman Empire. Now, many of the Germanic tribes were coming in with opportunity, but many of them were forced out because of the pushback of the Huns. The Huns were taking their territory, and so they found respite and they found opportunity to survive in the now collapsing Roman Empire. All of this is happening at the time that Ravenna is the capital of the Western Christian Roman Empire. And we're looking now at the Mausoleum of Galla Placidia. I know, I look at the pronunciation in terms of how it would be pronounced in Latin. Two L's make a Y sound, just like, tortilla. So Galla and then Placidia. Now, Galla Placidia, she is the daughter of a Roman emperor, the sister of a Roman emperor, the wife of a Roman emperor, and the mother of a Roman emperor, and an extremely interesting character in history that often gets ignored. Here is her mausoleum. Now you might be thinking, with such a crazy important lineage, she should have a really opulent mausoleum, and this doesn't look like much. Okay, yeah, from the outside it is rather humble brickwork, but okay, the craftsmanship of the brickwork is gorgeous and elaborate. Look at those beautiful rounded arches. But I mean, it's nothing major, right? The reason is carrying through with the Christian ideology of the importance of the soul over the physical world. And the architecture begins to resemble that same kind of exterior humility with an interior gloriousness. So while the exterior of our mausoleum doesn't look like much, the interior is going to be reflective of the same kind of connection between the body, the physical, and the soul. So the body being the exterior, and then the divine, majestic power of the soul on the interior. You want to go inside? Let's go inside. Ooh, So we're standing in one of the side squares. You see that? So there's the dome, and then there are 4 side square elements that are connected under the dome. And that's where we're standing here. And it's lined in marble and mosaic. So you see the walls on either side, they stretch up, and there are these thin veneers or coverings of marble slabs, and they're laid out in these patterns to create these kinds of swirls and swoops. Look at that. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is very similar to the way that the other elaborate houses or public buildings would have been, like the Baths of Caracalla or the Colosseum. Remember, I keep saying they were lined in marble, they were lined in travertine. here we get to actually see that line work, the lining, the veneer of the elaborate colored marble stonework, right? And it goes up, and then just at the ceiling, it changes into mosaic. And the mosaic tile is gorgeous. First, arch, the round arches that connect into the dome are decorated to look like evergreens, boughs of evergreen. We've seen the use of boughs of evergreen before, like the Arapakis Augustae. It is a classical Greek, Hellenistic, Roman. It is a way of representing everlasting life because evergreens never die. And here, everlasting life is connecting to Gaia Placidia in this mausoleum, her Christian faith, the idea of Christ and the afterlife. So we see this connection between the classical world, these evergreens, these boughs of evergreen, and now being used in a Christian context. The sarcophagi of Gaia Placidia and her male relatives are located inside the mausoleum. And then look at here, we're underneath the dome. We see this beautiful deep blue, and then encircled with these golden stars is a Christian symbol, the cross, which is the crucifix where Jesus was killed, or how he was killed for treason, was on a cross. And here we see that symbol of Jesus with the golden stars of heaven surrounding it. Again, connecting the Christian word of an afterlife with the heavenly stars into Gaia Placidia's mausoleum. Now, the four corners of this squared dome have these winged figures. There's a man, a bull, a lion, and an eagle. Let me say that again. Winged figures of a man, a bull, a lion, and an eagle. Why are they there? Where else have we seen winged lion, bull, man, eagle? That's right, the lamassu. Remember? The lamassu. And a lamassu is a guardian, right? Now, let's think to why this would be here in Gaia Placidia's mausoleum. Well, I told you that in the first temple in Jerusalem, the Temple of Solomon, the lamassus were set up to protect the Ark of the Covenant. They are guardians and therefore would have been appropriate to guard the Ark of the Covenant. The Jewish faith is then part of the Christian faith, correct? Yes. And the four authors of the writings of Jesus are often referred to as the guardians of the sacred text. The four evangelists, the four authors of the New Testament, the Gospels of the New Testament, they are Matthew, John, Mark, and Luke. There's four of them, and they're referred to as the guardians of the sacred text because they wrote the words and teachings of Jesus in the New Testament. There are other chapters, other books, but those four Gospels, those four teachings of the word from Jesus were written by Matthew, John, Mark, and Luke. An Assyrian guardian, the lamassu, is made up of four elements: a man, an eagle, a lion, and a bull. The Christian use of a man to symbolize Matthew, an eagle to symbolize John, a lion to symbolize Mark, and a bull to symbolize Luke, is a way of connecting the guardian with the guardians of the New Testament. Am I making myself clear? This is usually a time when I look out into the classroom and I see students going, huh? Or, what? So the gospel, the 4 books of the gospel, are related to images. Matthew is seen as symbolic. Matthew's symbol is a man. John's symbol is an eagle. Mark's symbol is a lion. Luke's symbol is a bull. That is not an accident, because those are the 4 creatures that make up the guardians of the Lamassu, which were used as guardians of the Jewish Ark of the Covenant. So we're seeing this beautiful lineage from the Assyrian guardians into the Jewish faith and now into the Christian faith. And in Galla Placidia's Mausoleum. Our next artwork is a specific area of Galla Placidia's mausoleum.